Well, she's got some kind of medical condition. After picking up our things, we stand in a pretty short line. However, Monica's raspy coughing quickly draws attention to us. Heads turn in our direction, some of them even looking a bit irritated. Siri places a hand on her shoulder.
Hey, are you okay? You've been coughing pretty heavily over the past few minutes. Are you still sick? No, I'm fine. You don't need to worry so much. But I need to worry. I don't want my friends to be sick. Sorry, I appreciate the concern, but I'm fine. You don't need to worry so much, silly. If you say so.
Without another word, we check our things out. The rest of the day goes by as normal, and before we know it, we're all finished with our work.
Phew!
Tired already?
Yeah, today's been really fun, though.
Siri glances at Monika and then back at me. Back to me. I'd say the same. I pull out my phone and check the time, noticing there's still a half hour before noon. Maybe I could go home early? I mean, now that I'm participating in the festival, I could start practicing my performance. Nodding to myself in confidence, I take my leave and wave the others goodbye. Ugh. I've been practicing reciting my poem for hours. So far, none of these rehearsals appeal to me. It doesn't help that I need to convey a certain feeling to this poem, and knowing myself, I end up butchering it further and further. I keep remembering that this is for the club and that I shouldn't put too much effort into this. Oh, okay, so you don't care that much about it. However, the last thing I need is to flub my performance simply because I wasn't prepared enough. So, despite all of my failed attempts, I continue practicing. After about an hour or two, I finally give up. Of course, I'm not very proud of my work, but the thought of practicing all night makes me annoyed, and I'm even surprised I practiced for more than a few minutes at best. Usually, whenever I present something, I don't really put much effort into how it sounds and all of that. Maybe it's my dedication to the club that's causing this sudden change? Or my desire to impress one of the girls, specifically Monika? Looking outside my window, I realize that it's still dusk outside. Maybe I could take a break before night falls? I think a good stress reliever is simply going out for a walk and clearing your head. I play around with the thought for a while, eventually deciding to go outside. This can't be base game MC then. After a few minutes of wandering around, I end up somewhere unfamiliar. Guess I was just spacing out a lot back there. Then again, I didn't really have a destination in mind. One look around concludes that this is another park in the area. Oh well, I guess I might as well just take a seat on one of the benches. As I follow through with my thought, I spot someone familiar. Yuri. I never would have expected to find her here. She seems to be enjoying the weather, though. Should I talk to her? I mean, I know she's pretty reclusive and not exactly one for conversation. But it wouldn't hurt talking to her outside of school, right? Nodding to myself, I decide I'll talk to Yuri a bit. I take a seat next to her and rest my arms on my legs. What? Hey, Yuri.
Ellie, you startled me.
Sorry. I didn't mean to startle you like that.
It's fine. I know you didn't mean to do it. What are you doing here, though?
Nothing much. I was just taking a bit of a walk. What about you?
Well, sometimes I usually come outside and enjoy the weather. Isn't it relaxing to hear the sounds of nature accompanying you?
Yeah, it really is. I sometimes like to walk around for a while and enjoy nature. It never fails to clear my head from stress. You could say it's like yoga.
You'd be correct. Even walking for 10 minutes per day can help you out tremendously. Walking helps to boost endorphins, which can also help reduce mild depression as well.
As Yuri continues to talk, I find my eyes drawn to an object on her lap. It looks like a novel. Hey, Yuri, what's that on your lap?
Oh, it's a new novel I've picked up recently.
Well, there's my answer. Interesting. What's it called?
The Long Walk. It's a Stephen King novel under his pseudonym, Richard Bachman. He originally wrote the first draft back during his freshman years, but officially published it in 1979.
He sounds pretty interesting. What's it about? I might want to read it someday. Sometimes all one word. Yuri flips the book over and scans the back with some sort of intrigue.
All right. I just wanted to make sure I don't accidentally give anything away. Basically, it's about 100 teenage boys that are selected to enter an annual contest where the winner would be awarded with anything they want. The game is pretty simple. Maintain a steady pace for 4 miles per hour without stopping. If you don't keep the pace steady, you'll receive a warning. Receive 3 warnings and you're eliminated from the game permanently.
It sounds pretty engaging. Do they sell any copies of the book in libraries?
I believe so.
Perfect, thanks. I mentally make a note to go to the library and pick up the long walk, mainly because I don't want to do absolutely nothing in the club. I can read, I swear. I shouldn't rely on Monika roping me into something I can do, despite how fun it is to talk with her. We talk for a bit more, mostly about school and what we have been doing. At the end of the day, I'm glad I got to speak with Yuri a bit more. Yuri stands up after a short silence.
I'm sorry to say this, but I have to go now. I need to get home before the sun sets.
Don't sweat it, Yuri. I've had fun talking to you outside of school. Maybe we can do this some other time.
I'd appreciate that, Hallie. It's been fun talking to you as well. But I must go now. Farewell and have a good night.
Heh, you too, Yuri. Yuri disappears from my line of sight in a few minutes. Standing up and quickly stretching, I begin the journey to the library. Now, time to get that book. Are they still going to be open? I mean, wasn't it dusk when he set out? I don't know.
Tomorrow's the day. I don't know how long I can keep pretending everything's normal, that I'm fine. Especially since... No, I shouldn't think about that. Remember what he told you. Make the club the best you can make it. Even if...
It's Monday, the day of the festival. I patiently sit on the curb, waiting for Yuri to emerge from her house. Quite nervous as to how our performance will go, but I'm excited for it to be over so I can explore the rest of the festival for myself. After a few minutes of playing with my hands, Yuri finally runs out of her house and over to me. I stand up and wave at her.
Sorry.
Overslept again? I think I could tell. Now come on, let's get going if we want to be early for the festival.
Okay.
And thus our journey begins to the school. Looking around, I notice all of the early risers all grouped up together in front of us and on the sidewalk across the street.
I'm so excited. Today's gonna be so much fun. Although I'm kinda nervous about our performance.
Same. But I'm sure you'll do good, Sayori. Now me, on the other hand, I don't think I'll do very well. After all, my poem isn't up to standards with the rest of your poems.
Don't be silly, Hallie.
You know, it'd be nice if Sayori was on screen right now.
I'm sure everyone will love your poem.
Heh, we'll see. So, what are you gonna do after our performance? Eat all of the food available in the stalls?
Haha, very funny.
I know. I'm a pretty funny guy myself. No, but seriously, what are you gonna do?
I think I'll check out all the other cool creations other clubs made. I just know they're amazing.
And after that?
What do you mean?
Come on, Sayori, I know you're gonna eat tons of food afterwards. It's pretty obvious.
Oh, come on. Food's like the definitive festival experience.
You need an apostrophe there. Come on. I know it's like it's like two words being merged by an apostrophe, so. Oh, yeah.
You can't enjoy a festival without food.
I guess I can't argue with that. She's been pouting all the way into the school. I'd rather watch you, though, in case you do decide to eat all of the food.
You're such a meanie sometimes.
I do it because I like to mess around with you sometimes, you know? Besides, who else is going to be a meanie to you other than me?
I guess you're right. Hallie, Sayori, you're the first two here. Thanks for being early.
That's funny. I would have expected Yuri or Natsuki to already be here. Monika is flipping through the pamphlets, double-checking our work, even though it would be too late to fix them. Sayori and I each pick up one up from the stack.
These turned out amazing, Monika. We'll definitely get some new members with this.
Yeah, I agree. These turned out very well.
Yep, all thanks to you two. Come on, Monika, give yourself some more credit. You did most of the work. You don't have to give me that much credit. Both of you guys did excellent work as well.
I think we can agree that we each did a very good job together. Right?
Yeah!
What exactly did MC do? After a few minutes, both Yuri and Natsuki enter. Yuri holds a pristine banner in her hands, bag strapped around her shoulder, while Natsuki holds a wrapped tray similar to the one on Tuesday.
Alright, it's festival time! Wow, you guys got here before me? I thought I was pretty early. I'm sorry for being so late. No, you're just on time. We were just getting started with decorating the room anyway. That's a relief.
With all 5 of us together, we finished decorating the room. Yuri's purple banner stretches from one corner of the room to the other. On each table rests a cupcake, a pamphlet, and a candle that shoots with thin rays of vapor, permeating the room with a jasmine-like smell.
Okay, everyone.
Monika's voice interrupts us. Quickly, we direct our attention onto her.
I know we're all a bit nervous about today. I would be lying if I said I wasn't nervous as well. But I know we'll do great. No matter the outcome of this event, I'm proud of you all for the effort put into this club.
Although Monika is smiling, I can see that her eyes are almost wistful. But that quickly vanishes as Monika clears her throat again.
Now then, are we almost ready to present? Yeah? Let's just get this over with. I guess.
Yeah! Monika passes us the papers that hold our poems. With one last nod of encouragement, she begins to open the door. Our turnout was actually pretty decent, although I suspect it's because of Natsuki's cupcakes, or to rest their feet from walking around. Monika stands at the front of the podium, holding her poem.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Literature Club's poetry performance. I'm Monika, the president of the club.
All of the attendees wave at Monika while she waves back.
And here's Sayori, Yuri, Natsuki, and last but not least, Hallie.
The audience waves at us like before. We wave back.
Thank you all for coming to our event today. I hope you guys enjoy our performance. After we finish them, feel free to come up to the stage and perform your own poems if you wish.
Everyone nods their heads.
Okay. Today, the poem I'm going to present is The Way They Fly. Ahem.
Monika closes her eyes and begins to recite her poem. Each word from her recitation is clear and evokes emotion. Sometimes she would even use hand motions to make the poem feel more lively. The subject matter of her poem is, of course, pretty abstract, and the meaning is immediately lost on me after the first few lines. However, since her poem has a tone of sorrow, I assume it's probably something sad. I wonder if this is something she's done before, or if she's simply a natural. I glance down the room. Everyone's eyes locked on Monika. Sarah looks astounded, while everyone else simply watches in awe. Finally, Monika finishes, and a round of applause roars across the room.
Thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed my poem. Now up next is the Literature Club's own Vice President, Sayori.
After Sayori, Yuri, and Natsuki perform, it's my turn to take center stage. I stand up and mentally reassure myself to do the best I can. Nodding to myself with confidence, I walk over to the podium and stand there. Ahem. Hello, everyone. I'm Hallie, the new student at this school. I'd like to thank you all for coming here today. Without further ado, here's my poem for today. I clear my throat and begin to recite. My poem's actually pretty solemn in general, mostly focusing on something tragic that happened in my life. I know I did promise myself that I wouldn't dwell on the accident regarding my parents anymore, but listening to Claire de Lune really brought those feelings back for me. I don't think for a second that I'll be able to beat the others' performances, but I still manage to do my best anyway. Before I know it, I finish. Everyone claps for me as I glance at the other girls. Monika and Natsuki look taken aback, while Sayori and Yuri just clap with the others. Eventually, Monika stands up after the applause dies down.
Thank you all for coming. We hope you enjoyed hearing our poems and allowing us to show you all what literature is about. The other three don't even get to go.
We all stand at the front of the room and bow as the applause from the audience drowns the room in noise. As we clean up the clubroom, Monika's mood seems to drastically change within a few minutes. She seemed so energetic and enthusiastic during the performance, but now she's just wordlessly helping us clean the room without acknowledging us. A few minutes pass, and Monika still hasn't spoken at all. After we finished taking down the last of our decorations, she just sat back down. Now she's just staring at her desk, looking distant and blank. I walk over to her. Hey, you're a lot more quieter than earlier. You only need quieter. Don't put the more there. Everything okay? No response. I don't even think she heard me. Monika? I wave a hand in front of her face. Are you with me?
I
Hmm?
I have to use the bathroom. I'll be right back.
She hastily stands up and rushes out of the club room. As she departs from the room, I notice that her legs are wobbling slightly as she walks. I take a seat next to Sayori, who leans into my ear.
You think she'll be okay?
I don't know. She probably had to really go. We should just wait for her to get back.
I guess.
15 minutes have passed and there's still no sign of Monika. I run a hand through my hair, growing slightly more anxious. She should be done now, so why isn't she back here?
Shouldn't she be back by now?
Seems like Natsuki had the same question as me. I think so.
Shall we go check on her?
Sayori lets out a long sigh and stands up.
I'll go check on her.
She turns to me.
Holly, I'll call you if something's wrong, okay?
All right. Sayori takes her leave from the clubroom, leaving the three of us behind. Yuri is reading her novel, but I can clearly tell she's not being absorbed into it like usual. Meanwhile, Natsuki is pacing in circles around the room. The silence in the room is palpable, a far cry from what used to be the energy from earlier. I squeeze my hands together and bounce my gaze around the room, trying to distract myself from the heavy atmosphere. The silence is eventually broken by Yuri, who lets out a shaky sigh.
I hate to admit it, but I'm getting really scared. What if she's hurt? She probably isn't hurt. Maybe ditched us for the popular kids. I don't know.
I tune out the rest of their conversation and put my head in my arms. I try to reassure myself that everything will be okay, but I find my mind drifting off to the worst-case scenario. On one hand, maybe Natsuki was right, and she really did ditch us to see the rest of the festival. But why would she do that? From what I've known, she isn't the type to ditch us. But there's nothing I can do about that, aside from hoping that Monika's fine. After all, this could just be one big scare. God damn it, I really need to stop stressing myself out over this. A chill runs down my spine as I hear my ringtone go off. With a slightly shaky hand, I retrieve my phone from my pocket. The contact that shows up on screen makes my stomach churn and causes a pang of dread to course through my body. Sayori. Oh shit. I don't want to answer the call, but something within me forces it against my will anyway. With sheer reluctance, I answer the call and put it up against my ear. Sayori?
Monika's passed out on the bathroom floor!
No. No. Shit! Without a second thought, I swiftly end the call and shove my phone sloppily down into my pocket. Yuri, Natsuki, we gotta go, now!
What? Where?
Bathroom. I don't have time to explain. Monika's seriously in trouble.
All right.
The three of us reach the bathroom in seconds, gasping for air. I quickly locate Sayori on the middle of the floor, resting Monika's head against her lap. I can tell she's trying to say something, but all that comes out of her mouth are blubbers and incoherent sobbing. Ignoring Sayori's terror, I kneel down in front of Monika and tightly squeeze her hand. It's still freezing like the first time I felt it, but I don't care anymore. Monika, can you hear me? Monika! Monika! I grab her shoulders and shake her, trying to get any form of response. After a few seconds, she mutters something unintelligible. Thank God. I reach into my pocket and pull out my phone. However, a terrible realization dawns on me. My phone battery is about to die. I don't think I'll be able to call an ambulance in time. Fuck it, I don't care anymore. As long as Monika makes it. I'll be right back, okay? Just stay with us, please. Is there a reason you're not using Sayori's phone? Rushing out of the bathroom, I speed dial the emergency services. In a hurried pace, I explain what happened to the operator, and she insists for medical assistance immediately. Thanking them, I hang up and hurry back to the bathroom. As I run back to Monika, I notice a crimson stain on the sink counter, while Yuri hovers over it, clutching the edge of the counter. Is that... Hoping that my suspicions are wrong, I dash to the sink counter. Sure enough, there's blood on the counter and inside of the sink. No fucking way. I almost want to vomit at the sight as my stomach heaves and my heartbeat thrashes against my ears. However, I swallow, trying my hardest to not throw up right now. Jerking myself away from contact with the sink, I bolt back over to Monika and squeeze her icy hand again. Listen. You're gonna be okay, Monika. The paramedics are coming. You're gonna be okay, I promise. I continue repeating that last phrase, hoping my mantra doesn't fall on deaf ears. The next few minutes pass by in a blur. My memories are fuzzy, so I can't remember exactly what happened, although I do recall Natsuki leaving the bathroom sometime after I called the paramedics. Eventually, Natsuki returns, a school nurse by her side. The nurse promptly instructs us to leave the area, stating that the paramedics are on their way. We comply as I lift myself from the floor. Exiting the bathroom, everything feels surreal. Behind me, I can hear Sayori softly sobbing to herself still. I turn around and walk over to her, wrapping an arm around her shoulder. Ahead of me, Yuri and Natsuki seem rattled. Meanwhile, I'm trying to decipher what the hell just happened. And yet, somehow, I'm still keeping on a calm face, despite nearly closing in on a panic attack. I want to say something, anything to break the tension between us, but I can't find the right words to say. In fact, I don't even think I should say anything in this situation. Besides, what could I even say? Eventually, we leave the school under a heavy silence. We wave each other goodbye, and I begin the walk home. The minutes turn to hours as I sit on the edge of my bed. I've been trying to tune out the events of today by browsing through various animes and even watching a few. To no avail, I find myself constantly replaying the events of today in my mind. Why did this happen? How did this happen? So many questions, none of them I have the answers to. A minor ache develops in my head. I look out from my window and into the neighborhood, a starry night sky blanketing it. I guess it's still early night then. Slowly, I start to feel my body shut down as I fall onto the bed, turning off the lights in the process. I can't sleep. My mind is still racing a mile a minute. Her headache from yesterday, our theories at the park, her unexplained absence on Friday, her passing out today. I want to believe this is all just some sick coincidence, but the more I think, the more I slowly start to realize one thing. None of this is just some sort of coincidence or a twist of fate. Monika's actually sick. Severely. But maybe she passed out for unrelated reasons? It's possible. But how would she pass out? This is getting me nowhere. Not to mention that my headache from earlier is slowly starting to develop into a problem. I should try to get some sleep, even if I can't. I force my eyelids shut. I shouldn't worry about Monika right now. Hopefully she'll tell us what's going on in due time. Hopefully. That's it for the demo. Thanks for playing. I had a feeling we were getting close to the end of it there. So that's the start of Everlasting. And it just closed on its own. Well, okay then, game.